What's going on, you guys? So this is Bushido Boxing Monologue episode 4. And quite a bit has happened. I try to do these videos every week, sometime after Wednesday. So be looking out for it. But Tyson Fury comes out and reveals that if he didn't fight Deontay Wilder, he'll be sued for $80 million. $80 million. And that's what happens. You know, see, Deontay Wilder wasn't in a position to really give Tyson Fury a rematch. He wasn't in a position to even give him a title shot to begin with. And naturally, when a guy has a voluntary title defense, usually it's automatically a rematch clause thrown in there. But, you know, Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder in the second fight and tried to run off and tried to manipulate boxing fans into not doing what was right, and that was giving Wilder his shot. So Wilder had to go to arbitration, get the court system involved just to get his shot, right? But this is what Tyson Fury gets. So now he has to see this dude, and Deontay Wilder, third man, has been revealed. And your boy Bushido was way off on who it could have been. I assumed it was guys like George Foreman, maybe even Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, somebody like that. He said it's somebody that everybody knows, et cetera, but not everybody know who Don House is. And unless you watch MMA for extended periods of time, then you wouldn't know who Don House was, for the most part. And Don House is probably one of the best hand rappers in combat sports. And now he's part of Team Wilder. He explained that Wilder's looking really good, looking dangerous, you know. And he said what makes Wilder so good is that he's a natural athlete. So he could pick up things really fast, faster than your average fighter probably can, because they may not be the athlete that he is. So he said that Deontay Wilder is looking ferocious, looking fierce, looking better than ever. And he fought against Deontay Wilder in the Bermane-Stavern fight. So, yeah, he's seen the improvements in Deontay Wilder. And he said by him being such a really, really good athlete and being so fast, he's able to pick up these things really, really quick. And they, once again, gave out the game plan. They're going to be working Tyson Fury's body. So they're letting him know that, hey, we coming for that body. Will they work against him in a fight with Fury? Nah, I don't think so. Because now Fury got something else to worry about. He got something else to think about other than that lethal right hand. Heavyweight boxing, all this other little shit that the smaller fighters, all the technicalities and shit, that shit don't really matter too much in heavyweight combat sports. It really don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could be pretty technical all you want to, but if this big motherfucker could punch and he punch it right through your guard and shit anyway, what difference does it make? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, Tyson Fury will have to pay Deontay Wilder $80 million if he don't fight this guy, so he's going to have to fight him. And we heard the stories. He was getting whooped on the camp, postponed the fight, et cetera, et cetera. So he's going to have to see this dude, Deontay Wilder, sooner than later, and I can't wait for it. But moving on to some more minor news. Ryan Garcia is fighting Jojo Diaz in November. It's allegedly official, a done deal. That fight is going down after both guys clout chased off Devin Haney's name, acting like they wanted to fight him. Jojo Diaz did too. And now all of a sudden they fighting each other. Ryan Garcia pulled out of the fight with Javier Fortuna. Jojo Diaz stepped up to face Javier Fortuna and beat Javier Fortuna. A lot of people suspect that Ryan Garcia was just trying to get out of the fight with the guy, used a mental illness excuse, you know, went on vacation, you know, things of that nature, and then comes back to boxing once Jojo Diaz takes care of Javier Fortuna for him. Now he's all good again. Talking about he'll knock out Tank and Tank Davis, and they didn't want to fight. But Leonard Ellaby comes out and says, dude, we talked to Golden Boy, and they said now is not the time. They not ready. You know, they not ready yet for that fight. So Ryan Garcia's out here capping line. You know, boxing fans, except for the Mexican boxing fans, but a majority of boxing fans, they don't believe in Ryan Garcia. A lot of people tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. People like your boy Bushido tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. They wanted him to really, they really wanted to believe what he was saying, but it ended up being mostly cap. And now people are looking at Ryan Garcia as pretty much a joke or like a YouTube, along the lines of a YouTube boxer, shit like that, Instagram boxer. Nobody still really don't take him seriously just yet until we see him in there with somebody that he claimed he wants to fight. You know, Jojo Diaz is a really good fight, though. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. The Jojo Diaz fight is a good fight. I keep saying Christopher Diaz and shit. I keep getting him mixed up with Christopher. I just call him Jojo. Jojo Diaz. Yeah, that's a good fight. Jojo Diaz only loss is against Gary Russell Jr. And he gave Gary Russell Jr. actually a really good fight. It wasn't like a one-sided beatdown. You know what I'm saying? It was a pretty competitive fight, even though Gary clearly won a fight. It wasn't a lopsided beatdown or anything of the sort. So Jojo Diaz is a really good fighter. Beat Tevin Farmer, took his belt. So, yeah, it should be a really interesting fight from Ryan Garcia. You know, Jojo Diaz is a smaller man, 5'6". You know, Ryan Garcia is damn near 5'10". So we gonna see how that fight plays out. It should be a really good one. We go see. I think Jojo Diaz, if he comes to win, he can win. But if this fight looks funny, like the Dono fight, where the dude just got hit one time and kind of just fell, if Jojo Diaz ends up crumbling to this dude, it's gonna raise questions for me. It's gonna raise questions for me because they're moving Ryan like they want him to be a star. Ryan Garcia is likely going to be that fighter that may not have to fight nobody of quality anytime soon. So, yeah. Also in minor news, J-Rock has been added to the Wilder Fury undercard. So that should be interesting. Who J-Rock fights, how he looks, you know, see what J-Rock does. Emmanuel Navarrete is also fighting Joet Gonzalez. That fight is coming up pretty soon. What else we got? Oh, speaking of Don House, the guy that is with Team Wilder right now, he's also with Caleb Plant as well. So, yeah. When Wilder said that he has somebody that everybody heard of or everybody knows, I'm thinking he's talking about a Hall of Fame, boxer, a Hall of Famer, somebody, a legend, somebody that everybody, a household name, somebody that everybody heard of. But, not everybody know who Don House is. So, yeah, 7-8 Sports. 7-8 got the interview if you wanted to go listen to it, check it out, to find out more about who Don House is and what does he do. He's been in the UFC for like 20-some years. He's really close with those guys. He's like the main rapping guy for the UFC. But he also do some boxing too. So, yeah. What else we got? Mikey Garcia is fighting Sandro Martin October 16th. Okay, now, I'm glad I thought about that because my initial monologues, Mikey Garcia was ducking, right? But come to find out what it was, DAZN wasn't willing to offer Mikey the same amount of money that he got for Jesse Vargas for a fight with Regis Prograis. Now, we all know Regis Prograis is a tough fight, and Mike Garcia likely would want either something close or even more than what he got for Jesse Vargas, and DAZN wasn't really willing to pay him. They was willing to pay him less for Regis Prograis than they did for Jesse Vargas. So, yeah. So Mikey Garcia took the Sandro Martin guy. He's probably getting a lesser purse for that fight, but it's an easier fight. I mean, I can't be mad at him for that. So to double back on Mikey, it's not necessarily a duck move, okay? It's not necessarily a duck move. I should come out with an official video to kind of piggyback off my last one in regards to Mikey Duck and Regis. But in reality, it just wouldn't really make sense for him to take less money to fight a tougher fighter, a more primed fighter, in Regis Prograis versus Jesse Martin, where he got more money for a fading past prime. It doesn't make sense. DAZN should have gave Mikey what he wanted for that fight, and it would have been a really big fight for DAZN. So they kind of dropped the ball with that. Nobody's going to be really tuning in to see Mikey beat up on unheralded Sandro Martin. I mean, nobody's going to be checking for that. Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora 2 has been officially announced. They made that fight, part 2. Do box fans really care? Not too much. Joseph Parker, I don't know. Whatever with that guy. I like Derek Chisora a lot, though. He's a warrior, a dog. He'll fight any and everybody. Hopefully he gets the job done this time. I felt that he kind of got played in the last one. Hopefully he gets the job done this time. There's been a rumor going around that Canelo Alvarez, I've been seeing, I think Aki TV posted it, but Aki TV be lying. So your boy Bushido automatically didn't believe it when he saw it. But a lot of fans, and let me cook on this too. This is a monologue, so let me cook on this shit too about boxing fans. Let me change lanes a little bit. But Canelo, he said that he wanted to fight Ward or something to that effect. I didn't look too deep into it because I thought it was bullshit. Canelo don't even talk that way, and boxing fans was just seemingly believing it. And a lot of the guys were Hispanic dudes, sitting there just believing stuff they know they don't really believe. Canelo Alvarez isn't really looking to face a guy like Andre Ward. Andre Ward already said he's not really coming out of retirement. I think he could be possibly if a lot of money was on the table for him, something he couldn't refuse. But other than that, man, I mean, this dude Canelo, man, he didn't say that. I don't believe he said that. I don't believe. If he did, leave it in the comment section. Honestly, I don't really think Canelo will say that. Canelo ain't trying to fight no black fighters like that. Okay. Let alone Andre Ward. Even a past prime Andre Ward, I don't even think he still wants to fight that guy. Maybe if he was in his 40s, he'll be a little bit more intrigued by that potential matchup, fighting a former great in SOG. But nah, he ain't about to do that shit, man. But speaking of that, man, Mexican boxing fans, man. Y'all been leaving some pretty crazy comments in regards to just Canelo and some of the Mexican fighters that's been under the spotlight in regards to his failed tests and things of that nature. And, I mean, I seen a video where a guy was kind of addressing Mexican boxing fans and how they're being pretty much racist. And then they like to call out the black guys for supporting other black fighters or for calling out the double standards, and they like to call black guys racist. But Mexican fans are allowed to, and this is Mexican boxing fans, don't get all butthurt and sensitive for the shit I'm about to say. But there's a double standard there. You guys are allowed to, support Mexicans, support Mexican fighters, people that look like you, people that share your reflection, brown pride, and, we don't care if he cheat, he's Mexican, so we're going to support him. We lie, we cheat, we steal, we don't care. But when a black guy shows support for his fellow black fighters, it's frowned upon. And this goes across the board. Not just the Mexican guys do this to black fight fans or black fighters, but it's a lot of everybody. Black people, or black fight fans in general, aren't allowed to show support full throttle towards their black people. It's been this way for quite a while. And one thing your boy Bushido will never allow I will never allow anyone to come try to shame me for supporting someone that looks like me. You won't do that. That doesn't mean that I hate everybody else and all this other fucking crazy shit that you dudes like to say. It's just that I like to support the people that look like me, just like you guys do. Now, this isn't really what this channel is based on, because if you look at my catalog, I talk about some of everything and everybody, and I show everybody in everything's love and respect. But at the same time, I see the bullshit too. I see the bullshit and the double standards from boxing fans. One guy cheats, right? Today, one guy cheats. Then they'll look back years back to another guy from a different demographic and say, well, he did it too. Okay, but that don't make it right, motherfucker. And 9 times out of 10, that guy had to deal with the consequences of his actions for his quote-unquote mistake. Speaking of mistakes and accidents, Oscar Valdez has been removed from the ring I believe it was the Ring magazine on ESPN's number one 130-pound rankings. He's not the number one guy. They removed him. However, he's still WBC champion. The judge who gave that fight against Robson Conceicao, 117-110, came out and apologized for that score. It's a lot of controversy surrounding that fight, and Robson Conceicao is filing a complaint against the whole thing altogether, including the drug test, the failed drug test in regards to Oscar Valdez. And speaking of drug tests, I seen another video too, and it really leads me to believe. And like I said, this is Bushido's monologue. I speak freely. If you don't like what I'm saying, change the station. You know, I'm not here to I don't pander. Okay. That's one thing your boy Bushido's not going to do. I'm not about to be like Moni Brown, pandering to, you know, the big popular fan, but I'm not doing that shit. That's not how I roll over here. But I seen a video, right? And it was about steroids, athletes on steroids, and the signs of this athletes being on steroids. And I don't know everything about steroids, but I have a little bit of knowledge about it. And I never claimed to be an expert on it. However, I do know some of the signs, like back knee and, you know, you balding and shit like that, you know, the really different moods, shit like that, right? But one thing I noticed in this video I saw is the injections, right? The guys that do the injections, they have to inject themselves in certain spots. And one of the spots is in their abdomen. And when they inject this shit in them, it leaves like a pimple. And I guess you have to keep injecting that same particular spot or it'll leave a scar. And they show athletes that have these pimples, these scar marks on them from these injections. And Canelo Alvarez was definitely one of them. And they show pictures of Canelo over the years, and he had those little fucking same little pimples on his abdomen. You've seen Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer player, the football player, soccer player, whatever you want to call him. We'll say what side of the world you're on. We call it soccer here in America. The soccer player, he had him. It was a whole bunch of different athletes that had it. Right, a whole bunch of different athletes that had these pimples on their body from these injections. And it really leads me to believe that Canelo Alvarez be cheating, man. You know? It really leads me to believe. After seeing that video, I'm almost sure he was now. And I was a Canelo fan, man. If you know, like, it sucks, right? Like, I really like Canelo. He's on my intros and shit. I made highlight videos of him. You know, but enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough. And then you got Oscar Valdez testing positive. You got a few other guys that was part of that team testing positive. It's really suspect, man. So I'm going to just leave it at that, man. And Mexican boxing fans, they don't care. They don't care as long as they win. You know, it ain't about pride and shit like that no more. They don't care. I mean, just if you think I'm lying, look at the fucking comments. Look at the comments of some of my videos where I'm talking about Canelo, or look at the comments from the Mexican fans. Come on, man. You know, Canelo being on top is one thing, but with everything surrounded it, you have to kind of look at it with the side of like, yeah. I mean, I'm glad one of our guys is doing well. He's at the top of the sport, et cetera, et cetera. However, there's so much controversy surrounding it. I don't know if I can get 100% behind it. Right? I know some of y'all do feel that way. I know some of you guys deep down you do. But then there's so many others that say, yeah, we don't care. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Brown pride and all this other shit. So, you know, it'll look crazy for you to go against that. So I get it. Speaking of Canelo Alvarez, too, while I'm still on Canelo, Callum Smith wants a rematch with him at 75 pounds after laying that egg the last time they fought. You ain't getting that fight again. But then again, he may get that fight again. You know, if Canelo decides to go back over there on his European tour, if he gets past Caleb Plant, it might be... I don't care to see Callum Smith fight again. I told myself after his last performance against Canelo Alvarez, I don't ever want to see him again. Why? Because he didn't fight. He didn't fight. You know, like he didn't fight. Like he didn't fight. He put up really little resistance. So if you don't put up no resistance, me personally, I don't want to see you fight again. I don't ever want to see you fight again. If you don't put up no kind of resistance, I don't want to see you no more. Moving forward, Dennis Ugas has been ordered to fight Eliamanta Stanionis. Yeah, the upcoming prospect. Stanionis will look like he would be getting a title shot sooner than Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, right? You would have thought that Virgil Ortiz would be the first one to get a shot, get mandated to get an opportunity at a world title because he's been putting in some really good work, Virg. But Stanionis gets the shot. I mean, he may show up against Ugas, man. Ugas tends to fight to the level of his opponents at times. Other times he show up. He showed up against Manny. We go see. He got 119 days to make this thing happen with Stanionis. Should be a really good fight. I give Ugas credit for it. Stanionis is a really good young fighter. He gonna have to see him now. So we go see what happens with that. Ugas seemed like he wanted to face Manny. Manny may have had second thoughts on that altogether. Manny's old, man. The fighting spirit is still there. It's still burning, but in reality, his body just, it's just not the same, And he may have to come to that realization, if he hasn't already, that, look, I just can't, I could still compete, but at a high level, it's not the same. And if I was younger, I would have beat this guy, So he going to have to just come to the realization that, look, man, my time is up. And Ugas will go off the fight, Stanionis. That should be a really good fight. Honestly, I would say Ugas will win that fight just based off of just Ugas. But you just never know dealing with Ugas. He didn't look too great against Abel Ramos. Got a split decision against Abel Ramos. I keep bringing that fight up because I felt that he should have beat that guy. And that was his fight to really that was supposed to be a showcase for him. And it ended up being a real fight. A fight where dude actually came to win. He put up some resistance. And I wouldn't mind seeing Abel Ramos again, right? Even though he took a loss, he made a good account of himself. So I wouldn't mind seeing him again, just like the Breedy guy that fought King Tug last year or however months ago. I loved his performance, his heart he showed in that fight. He really fought like he wanted to win. And I want to see him again. But with Callum Smith coming up in here playing around with these spar matches, not trying to punch through the guy and shit, I don't want to see you. Danny Jacobs, I didn't want to see him no more after his fight with Canelo. After Canelo fights these guys, I don't want to see him no more because they don't never put up an effort to beat this dude. Billy Joe, I didn't want to see him no more. No. When you fight Canelo Alvarez, you got to fight like how Triple G was fighting. And I'm not the biggest Triple G fan by any means, but Triple G actually came to fight. So, it's not like he was up in there sparring with Canelo and, taking it easy. He came to fight. So, Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos comes on a Monday, October 4th, on a Monday, and it's going to be priced at $49.99. Good luck doing that. And the funny thing is about it, Teofimo Lopez trying to high side on the other fighters, trying to, downplay a Lomachenko rematch. But this dude is fighting on a fucking Monday. He's fighting on a Monday. A Monday. Not a Tuesday night fight, not a Friday night fight, not even a Sunday night fight. A Monday night fight. And they want people to pay $50 to see this dude. A dude that people barely see, a dude that people barely know. Good luck selling that pay-per-view, T.O. Good luck, because fans haven't been seeing you. You haven't been really doing shit to promote the fight. Really, if Kambosos beats him, good riddance, honestly. Maybe Kambosos will move like a real warrior. Maybe Bob Arum is hoping Kambosos beats T.O. Then that way him and Lomachenko could have a fight in Australia, a big fight in Australia. And that'd be a way for Lomachenko to get his belts back, and then we can continue this show. Because Lomachenko ain't about to be moving. He's not about to be on a mic saying the weak ass shit now. His handlers, Bob Arum and all them, they may do something different. But Lomachenko himself, he's not gonna come out on camera and say no shit like, just the shit that T.O. been saying, that cowardly shit. He's not about to be doing that. He already had the pressure of being a man, being the guy with the bullseye on his back. He was able to handle the pressure of being a champion. Teofimo Lopez obviously can't handle the pressure of being a champion. He downplaying his future rivals and potential opponents already. He claimed he wants to fight Josh Taylor, but do we believe that? Absolutely not. Why not go ahead and tussle with Lomachenko again? If you beat a guy like him again, that'll solidify you. Who else you go fight? You're not going to fight Tank. Tank and Rolly allegedly is supposed to be fighting. Allegedly. We go see. I think that fight should be made. It makes way too much sense. Who else you going to fight, T.O.? You're not going to fight Dev? You find every excuse in the world not to fight him. You're not going to rematch Loma. A lot of fans may say, well, Loma wouldn't have gave him a rich. But according to Loma, he didn't even know about the rematch clause. He didn't know anything about anything. Maybe these guys need to start paying attention to what their managements and these guys are doing. Right? Maybe Lomachenko could be capping. But he claimed to have didn't even know about it not being a rematch clause or anything. So take it for what you will, right? Lomachenko don't seem like a guy that will really lie. That's just my opinion. He never gave me a reason not to believe some of the things he say. He seemed like a pretty serious guy as far as his craft and his sport. He seemed like he takes it seriously. So it's not like he's a Tyson Fury motherfucker cheating and lying and bullshitting. You never know though, right? And the last thing, I know there's probably some more stuff to talk about, but I'm kind of tired. But the last thing is Terrence Crawford versus Shawn Porter, man. It's official. It's been announced. My sources ended up being right. Right? My sources ended up being right about the fight being a done deal. And now we got a fight. November 20th. ESPN pay-per-view. Terrence Crawford's second pay-per-view. So is Shawn Porter's. Should be a really good fight. And I suggest everybody support this fight. If you support any boxing fight this year, make it Crawford Porter. They say these guys can't sell. They say black fighters can't sell. They say Porter can't sell at a family diner. They say Crawford can't sell anywhere outside of Omaha, Lincoln, Nebraska, or whatever. Let's prove them wrong. Let's show them otherwise. They already got my money. See, that's all you got to do. Make the fights that people want to see, and then then boom, it's already sold. You ain't even got to build up the fight. You ain't got to do any of that shit. Boxing fans, hardcore fans, know what they want. We don't necessarily got to see build up. We don't necessarily got to see the trash talk and all the shit that comes with it. Ooh, you give us a good matchup, a good fight, then we go pay for that shit. The trash talk and the build up and all that, that's just extra. That just add more interest, more intrigue, more excitement to the fight. But it's not necessarily needed. But, well, actually today it is kind of needed. In today's society, yeah, it is. Especially amongst the casual fans, people who may not be full-blown fight fans. They gonna need that extra motivation to watch a fight. But us, we go watch the fights because we some bloodthirsty psychopaths. So, yeah, we go tune in regardless. And I suggest everybody put their little bit of money that they buy, their little quarter ounces with, buy the Crawford Porter fight. Should be a good one. I got Bud winning, stopping Porter. Yes, I said it, and I'll stand by it. Yeah, it's nothing personal against Shawn. I don't think he sucked or anything. I like Shawn Porter a lot, and I think he's a real warrior and deserves all the credit and respect in the world. However, he's in there with Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford, man. I mean, what else could I say? I think Shawn Porter has his style is almost tailor-made for Crawford. And now, like I said before, his best chance to deal with a guy like Bud would have been early on when Crawford first moved up. Shawn Porter already training. Good thing about Shawn, though, he's always training, always in shape, always ready to go, always fit. He's never, fat and shit. So, Shawn Porter's pretty big, too. They showed him training, getting prepared for the fight. He's a pretty big guy. Short, but big. So, should be a good fight, man. Both guys had a little bit of time off. Crawford had even more time off. Sometimes time off is good, especially when you've been doing something for so long. You got to think, boxing fans, these guys been fighting since they was kids. With few little breaks in between. And as a man, especially entering your 30s, depending on how things are going, rest is needed sometimes. Rest is needed. Nagging injuries, lingering injuries from a long time ago. Get some time off to heal up, get your mind right, come back rejuvenated, ready to go again. Sometimes that could be beneficial to fighters. Other times it could be detriment. Some guys come back, their timing's off, they can't just get it together, they never come back the same. Other guys, they come back rejuvenated, ready to go. And I think that's kind of how I am, me personally. Like when I was training kickboxing, I'll get burnt out. I felt like I wasn't really progressing. And then I'll take some time off. Like not even some time off. Maybe like I may not show up a day or so. But then I'd be itching to get back. I'd be motivated and ready to go. And I feel like I've gotten better just from taking some time off. You know, I feel like I've gotten better just from taking time off to process everything, to let my body heal up, et cetera, et cetera. Then when I come back, I'm rejuvenated. My mind is clear. I'm ready to go. And I feel like I'm better. You know, so it just works. It's different strokes for different folks. But the Crawford-Porter fight must be supported. I expect a lot of the guys who's been shitting on Crawford for the better part of 3 years to continue doing so. They trying to find more ways to do it, but they really don't have a real reason to now. You know, the narrative was that Crawford didn't want to fight nobody, et cetera. So they had to throw all that shit out the fucking window. So now what you gonna say? Oh, well, we gonna say now that, you know, Porter, you know, he's already been beat before and, you know, he's past his prime and he's already been a gatekeeper anyway. You know, expect to see those type of things if Crawford beats Shawn Porter soundly, you know, because if he beats Shawn Porter soundly, meaning he beat him more convincingly than Errol Spence did, yeah. Also, Shawn Porter said Errol Spence is a great fighter. He's one of the greatest of this generation. He big up Errol Spence. Shawn Porter's a really, really nice guy, humble guy. You know, he really big up Spence and wants Spence to come back. And we all want Spence to come back. But will he? We'll see. You know, we'll see. I guess they caught the injury early before it was really, really bad. So Spence may make a full recovery and come back and continue like nothing ever happened. You know, he came back off an accident and beat Danny, if that means anything to somebody, right? I think it means a lot. Me personally, and I thought he looked good in that fight. A lot of people didn't think he looked great. They thought he lost something. I wasn't looking too deep into that. I was just looking to see how he performed, and he did well considering the layoff and the situation that he was in. He looked good to me. So Spence seemed like a pretty confident guy, really confident dude in himself. He really seemed like he believes himself, except for when it came to fighting Terrence Crawford. But other than that, he seemed like a guy that really believes in himself, and he really, truly probably believed that he can come back and continue like nothing ever happened. So we're going to see what happens. If Crawford beats Porter, will Spence be interested in facing Crawford? Will he call out Crawford? Will he be pushing for that fight, or will he still be pushing for Ugas? I don't know. But I think the play will be for him to go after Crawford. Go after Crawford for something else happen. You know what I'm saying? Get locked into that fight so you won't be distracted. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't locked in or nothing, if you ain't got nothing to do, then you going to start doing bullshit, slacking, lacking. But if you had a fight with Crawford lined up, you know you got to get your shit together. You know you got to get your mind right. You know you got to get your health and weight right. It's going to force you to do the things that you need to do. Instead of waning off, hanging out, partying, drinking, doing shit you don't really need to be doing. But if you had a fight with Bud lined up, a series of fight with Bud lined up, then you'll be on your best fucking behavior. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.